It is a rainy Sunday afternoon here in Australia. We call it spring, and it's a time of year where you cannot predict the weather, where it's sunny in the morning and then rainy in the afternoon. And downpours can just happen out of nowhere. That video I filmed about a week ago. That video of me standing out by the door while it was raining. And I was going to do some follow-on videos, or talk about some things into that, but it just didn't really happen, because I had ideas in my head of what I wanted to talk about, but I just couldn't formulate them. This is an INFJ thing. I couldn't get the ideas out of my head and project them correctly. And that's something that I seem to struggle with a bit, is that things make sense in my head, and I have a lot of ideas floating around, but I can't always grasp them and fully, the wind doesn't go into the mic. I can't always project them correctly, whether I write them down or speak them like I'm doing now. Like if I write a song about something, sometimes I'll write a song about something, how I'm feeling about something, or an idea that I have, and then if I go back and reread that song, I look at it and I think, man, I still didn't fully get across the idea that I was hoping to get across in that song. I may only get like 25%, I may only capture like 25% of the emotion that I'm feeling. So I'm just trying to get out of the wind here so the wind doesn't go into the mic and make it annoying. My apologies if it does. This is okay. So that's where I was at last week, and I even tried last night to refilm some things, but it didn't really, as I said, formulate. But I'm going to try again. So this, as I said, this is INFJ related. If you're here for NoFap stuff, then I'm sorry. I'll try and do NoFap later on. So something I want to talk about, and I've talked about this previously, and there are a lot of INFJ things I can talk about, but this is something that sort of came up today or this morning, and it sort of bothered me a little bit. As I've said previously in other INFJ videos about authenticity, is that I think as people that are INFJ like myself, when we with that personality type, when we see things that aren't authentic, I think we can get a little suspicious of how we approach that person. Like if someone is presenting an inauthentic version of themselves, we can get suspicious of that. And I know for me, if I am presenting an inauthentic version of myself, or if I'm doing things that don't bind with who I am, it's really, it doesn't really gel with me very well. It's really conflicting for me internally if my behaviour does not reflect my, who I really am, that authenticity. And this morning when I was on Facebook, there was a picture that someone put up of the breakfast they were eating, like people do on things like that, and it was a photo of the breakfast they were eating, and it was a picture of it was a bowl of cereal with yogurt on top and 2 strawberries in the bowl. Okay, and then like next to the bowl there were 2 strawberries. There was like a board, and then on the board there was a bowl of cereal. Next to the bowl were 2 strawberries, and then next to the strawberries was a smaller bowl of almonds, which are a nut if you don't know. So this person posts a photo of their breakfast, but the way the photo is taken, or what the photo constitutes of, it seemed to reflect like a stock photo or something, something like this, for instance. And I saw this photo of this breakfast set up, and there was just like this little part of me that was kind of suspicious of this photo. And I've spoken about this before. is that when I see pictures that people take of themselves and they put like filters on the camera, or enhancements, you know, sometimes you can get a little suspicious of that and think, if they're enhancing the photo, then this isn't really a genuine photo of who they are, right? It's not like naturally correct. So this photo of this breakfast, going back to it, it had this, as I said, it had this board and had this bowl of cereal with yogurt, and it had these 2 strawberries and this other bowl of almonds, right? And when I saw this, and this person says, you know, this is my breakfast or whatever, I saw this and I saw the way that everything was presented in the photo, and I thought, no one has breakfast like that. I don't believe this. I mean, I believe that she ate what she said she was going to eat, but I don't believe that the way she presented it, I don't believe that was the way that it was going to be consumed. And I don't know, maybe that's a weird thing for me to think about. Maybe that's, you know, it's a strange thing, I guess. But as I said, sometimes when I see inauthentic things or things that just don't seem right, I get a little suspicious of the person, I suppose. And I think I unintentionally set this little barrier up between me and them, like this little social barrier. Like if I was to talk to a person and I don't believe they're authentic in who they are, I will, without realizing it, just put a bit of distance between me, a bit of like social distance between what I actually give away of myself to this person, and how much of them I actually take on board. And this, and this inauthentic thing goes across to people as well. So for instance, I know someone that is very indecisive in what they do with their life. Like they have, you know, they're consistent in where they live and the job they have, but often they'll say that they're going to do these major life decisions, but it doesn't actually happen. And I noticed this trend or this pattern over the years of this person saying they're going to do, you know, they're going to do this, and then it doesn't happen, and then they said they're definitely going to do this, and then it doesn't happen. And I ran into them a couple of weeks ago at a church event actually, and I was talking to them afterwards, and I said, you know, what are you up to, that sort of thing. And they were like, oh, you know, so I said, where are you working? And they were like, oh, well, I'm working at this place now. And I was like, you know, that's fine. And then they said, oh, I've been thinking about going, you know, I've been thinking about pursuing this other career, doing this other thing. And when they mentioned that, and I heard her say that, I'm like, there's this little part of me that was like, I don't believe that. I don't believe you're going to do that. You know, because I'm familiar with the number of times in the past where they've said that they're going to do certain things, like pursue certain careers or whatever, or make certain choices, and it didn't happen. And as I said, when they said that to me a couple of weeks ago, and there was just this subtle part of me that just didn't quite believe it, because I was a little bit suspicious because of noticing the trend. And again, it comes back to that inauthenticity thing. Like if you start saying you're going to do these, if you start telling people you're going to do all these massive changes and they just don't happen, you know, people may not start believing you after a while. And that's something that I do, maybe unconsciously or not. But there are other people that will like listen to people making decisions like that, and they'll be like, man, you know, that's a great decision, you know, I'm going to support you through that. And then if it doesn't happen, or if they pull out of it and they say, nah, that wasn't for me, then then someone else will come along and be like, well, you know, that's all right, you can change your mind, you know, I'll still support you through the decisions. But me, you know, if I see something like that, I'm just like, man, you know, I'm not sure if I believe you're going to do this, so I'm not sure if this is a decision that I'm going to actively support. Maybe that's that authentic thing. I hope that kind of makes sense a bit. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that a little bit of I suppose the suspicion that you can get from inauthentic, or the suspicion that you can get from, you can see the shadow, change the thing around. Yeah, the suspicion that people can, or the suspicion that I get when I see inauthentic things happening, that seem to just fly by other people and they don't really seem to pick up on. But for me, it's like I take it on board, and it kind of changes the way I perceive that person. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. As I said, INFJ video. I'll try and do some no fat ones later on. It's getting too cold, so I'm going to go inside.